So there are many seniors that in my ward that say, you know, at 2 a.m. they're woken up. It actually does affect the quality of life of many people in our city, and I'm wondering the timeline because your legislative changes later this year perhaps, but then better technology from New Zealand maybe another year. What is the estimated timeline where we can actually stop noisy cars from racing down our streets?
So we don't. So that hasn't been sort of made available to us right now. But I can tell you, it is very much on their list of things to do early in 2023, because this topic has not gone away. It's we're running into the same challenges that we have today as we were a few years ago. And as you well know, and I can appreciate in your riding, if it's not motorcycles or other forms of noise, it affects people's quality of life. So it is very much on our radar. And
my last question,
Well, I just don't want us to lose sight of the role of the city and by law enforcement in this. Mm-hmm. While the police may be commenting on it today and have things to say, there is a role for the city and by law enforcement that needs to be considered. So I certainly welcome to making sure that we're mindful of that particular resource that needs to be brought to bear.
Great, thank you. And my last question is, what should people do when this happens, given the current climate, given the current limitations in collecting that evidence? What should the seniors who call me and call the police to log complaints, what is our best suggestion for them? Course of action.
Okay. That's a very good question. And I think part of the problem is that by the time the police get there, this motorcycle or whatever it is has come and gone. Mm-hmm. So I always think that the best thing in the interim is to reach out to the local divisions and let them exercise some high visibility policing and let the people that are making the noise in that area know that cars, neighborhood officers, people that wear uniforms and that are in a position to stop and address this situation. That's in the short term, that's a strong deterrent.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further? Okay, Lisa?
Just is it fair to say and recommend, like going back to the city and their bylaws and being that jurisdiction, that councillors can advocate or lobby to have even speed bumps in some of those areas where this is occurring as well? Yeah, I'm putting it back on you, I am. That's recommended if it's a high traffic area and if this is happening and it's seniors or other populations that are suffering from this, is that not a place to go as well where we can have those conversations with the city?
I can answer. It's hard to do that on major arterial roads like Yonge Street or the highway.
I think the question was asked to staff. Okay, I mean, maybe we should just not fill the potholes and just slow down the traffic rather than complain about potholes. But just my question to you, I mean, this is very difficult to enforce. And as you mentioned earlier, I mean, if seniors are complaining about motorcycles or trucks in the middle of the night, like police officers isn't going to run there and start charging, I mean, they're gone, right? And even if it went to court, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of cases that go to court. So this is as far as enforcement when it comes to noise, that's very difficult to do unless you're there and you, just like somebody going through a red light or going through a stop sign, you need to be there when that happens. So it's very difficult to enforce. Am I correct?
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And if I could add additionally, again, an important reminder, I think, is the city's responsibility in 311 is where noise complaints are, amongst other complaints. So when you ask Councillor on what to tell members of the public, the one thing to tell them is to call 311 to allow the city to be aware of the situation and deploy their resources as effectively as they can to deal with the noise bylaws, and they have the resources to deal with that.